7 top tips to get your property projects funded by private investors. That's what I'm going to share with you in this video. Stay tuned till the end, and I'm going to kind of give you an opportunity to pitch your property project to me next week to have me fund your deal. Hi, I'm Ranjan Bhattacharya. I've been investing in developing properties for 30 years. If you're new to this channel, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified when we put out videos, which we do so each and every week. Now, how do you fund property projects? Well, you can go to banks, you can go to bridging finances and all of that, but private investors are a big source of getting your property projects funded. Now, many of you will know that I am an angel investor on the hit Sky TV show Property Elevator. Property Elevator is a bit like Dragon's Den. There are 5 of us angels on the show, and people come along and pitch their property projects to us, and if they're good and we want to back them, we fund them. Last week, we spent 3 days filming series 4 of Property Elevator, and more than 20 investors pitched for funding. So what I'm going to share with you are 7 tips for you guys when you're pitching to private investors for funding. And this is based on my experience from listening to private investors pitch to me on the show. And remember, next week, there's going to be a special opportunity for you guys. If you've got a property project that's live at the moment and you're looking for finance, you can pitch it to me and the other angels next week on 15th of March. And I'll explain exactly how you can apply for that special opportunity. So tip number 1. When you're pitching to an angel investor, your opening remarks, your opening statement is very, very important. If you're making a sort of paper pitch or a report or a pitch deck or whatever, you'd have something called an executive summary. When you do that verbally, you're making a verbal pitch, it's your opening statement that has to be compelling. And that opening statement needs to clearly articulate what the deal is about. So it might be a commercial to residential conversion project in Finchley or whatever. And then you need to be clear about what you want from the investor. So I'm looking to raise £200,000 or whatever it is. And then the third thing you have to address in your statement is what's in it for the investor. A 30% return, a £300,000 profit. What is it the investor will get, and also in what timescale they can expect to get out. Now, the second observation I have from Property Elevator Series 4 is that more than 60% of all the deals that were pitched to us were commercial to residential conversion opportunities. Now, I think one of the reasons for this is that commercial to residential conversion opportunities represent a great opportunity for massive uplift right now. And they're also quick to develop out. And that's because you don't have to build foundations or walls and roofs. The building's already there, and it's just internal configuration. And also the planning permission is far simplified. And all of these things together mean that these projects are less risky, they're quicker to deliver, and therefore there's more profit margin in them. And one of the things about getting in a private investor to invest in your project is that the margin needs to be meaty. All too often on the show, there is a margin on certain property deals, but the margin is okay for the developer to do if they're doing it themselves, but there ain't enough in there to share with other investors to make it a meaningful investment. And I think one observation from Series 4 was that the most meaty deals were the ones where there was a commercial to residential conversion opportunity. We'll get back to the video in just a moment. What is the most exciting opportunity in property right now? And that is repurposing defunct commercial buildings to residential use. Now, most people don't really know where to start, what to look for, and how to exploit these opportunities. And that's why I've prepared 90 minutes of free training for you to get you started on this wonderful journey. You can register for this free training at property-workshop.com. Join me on that free training, and I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of the video. Now, tip number 3 is speed, really. I mean, property development deals basically require some kind of planning consent. The planning system in the UK is pretty much unfit for purpose, as we all know. We have permitted development, which is a far more simplified regime for getting permissions and consents for doing any kind of development work. It's hardly surprising that most of the deals that attracted investors' attention were the ones where development could be undertaken under permitted development, because these are much more certain and they're far more quick, and therefore that means the investor is in for a finite period which they can accurately kind of predict, if you like. Tip number 4. So we've got all these permitted development rules, and they really allow you to do quite a lot with more building types than you could ever do before. And here's the thing, just because you can take, say, an office building and convert it into residential use and it's permitted development, it doesn't necessarily mean you should. Some building types are simply the wrong kind of floor plate. They're in an area where the values don't work, where the market for those sort of end units just isn't there. So just because you can do something and you'll get the permission for it, it doesn't always necessarily mean that you should do. Tip number 5 is to get your build costs right. And I've seen people go 2 ways with this. There are people that have rocked up on Series 4 and presented costings, and they're saying, oh, we're going to make 4 flats in this building and we're going to do them for 20 grand a flat. Now, I've never done flats for 20 grand a unit. I don't think that's possible. So obviously there's something wrong there. And obviously, if you present something where the costs are basically too low, it means that you haven't fully considered them. You may be showing, or you definitely will be showing, far more profit margin than there actually is in the deal. And also the opposite happens, where people overestimate their building costs. I've seen some deals where people have, I believe, overestimated the cost of flat conversion by at least 50%. Now that means those deals have more juice in them than the developer actually thinks. And of course, over-egging the cost can have a different effect, if you like, on assessing the deal's viability. So it's very important to have some reasonable accuracy to the cost of any building works or any conversion works or development works. And if you're not sure what these are, then get some expert opinion to back up your thoughts. The 6th tip is to be fully aware of what you can and can't do. I've seen a few dreamers pop up. They've got a plot of land and they suddenly think they're going to build the Empire State Building on it. Yes, you can vision whatever you like, but if the planning system doesn't let you do it, then you're on for a non-starter. So don't dream. Look at the planning policies in your particular area, and ideally make sure there's some precedent in terms of similar bills that have been done in that neighborhood for the type of scheme that you're looking to do. And my 7th tip is on exit strategy. Have a clear exit strategy for the deal. So how are you going to get out of the deal? How are you going to repay your investor back their capital and also return them a profit for backing you? And if that exit strategy doesn't go quite to plan, then what is your plan B? What is your plan C? Multiple exits are good. So as I said, Property Elevator Series 4 we filmed last week. It should be on the telly around about May, June type time in 2022. You'll be able to watch those on this YouTube channel as well in due course. Now, I have had some emails from people who have said, hey, look, we missed out on the filming of Property Elevator Series 4. Well, there is going to be a Series 5 that's coming up later in the year. But there is a special event next week. On Tuesday, 15th of March, we have the National Landlord Investment Show at the Old Billingsgate in London. And as part of that show, we're hosting a Property Elevator Live. It's basically a stage version of the TV show. And we're looking for 3 property investors to pitch their property projects for funding. All 5 of us angels will be there. Myself, John Howard, Helen Chorley, Nicholas Woolwork, Paul Mahoney, and our show's presenter, Elizabeth Warburton, will all be there in the live version of Property Elevator. We're looking for 3 property investors to pitch their property projects for funding. If they're good, you'll basically get funding there and then on the show. So this may be for a property that you already own. It might be for a site that you're bidding on or looking at purchasing or whatever. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's a current deal and you think there's margin in it and you're looking for funding for it, then you can get that funded next Tuesday, 15th live on stage at Property Elevator Live. There's a link on the screen here, propertyelevator.tv/live. Now go there and basically apply. You'll need to get your applications in by 13th of March. The producers will give you a call and you can secure your place to be one of the pitchers at the live event. If you just want to watch, I mean, the last time we did a Property Elevator Live at the Landlord Investment Show, we had more than 300 people attend in the audience. It was a lot of fun. If you just want to attend the event, we'll leave that link in the description below. So that's it for this video. Remember to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, see you guys in the next video, and see you next Tuesday at Old Billingsgate. High streets across the land are changing forever. Basically, there's an oversupply of retail premises. Shops are closing down, more are going to close down in the future. The government know this, and that's why they're introducing a light touch planning system which allows small developers to easily repurpose these buildings to residential use under a light touch planning regime called permitted development. Now, this is going to be the biggest revolution and the biggest change and the biggest opportunity for property investors that I've ever seen. And this is all coming into effect on 1st of August. So you need to know what's happening and what properties to look for to take advantage of these opportunities so that you can get in there and take that first mover advantage. I've got a 90-minute free masterclass to get you ready for August the 1st. Make sure you join me, click the link below. Whether you're a beginner or expert, we'll get you started.